Cleaning up
These
water.
shorts look fucking short on camera.
Dude, you look hot. All right, don't be weird about it.
I have a vest on as
Because
well.
of the configuration of the couch, I got to do everything like this.
Yeah.
It's not ideal. I'm just a little
Fuck,
slouchy
man.
boy.
If do you know what would be so funny is like 4 lads leaving this and then if the cleaners come in and just see this setup.
That's what I
Dude,
They
yeah.
definitely, they definitely.
I hope they assume it's water, because it's less embarrassing.
Yeah, it's less gay than a
And it's
podcast. Yeah, no, we're just fucking each other. Nothing gay.
Sorry, do not disturb on the door?
It's so much harder than somebody else. No, it was a podcast.
Yeah. Some of the stuff my girlfriend has caught me in the middle of. It would be easier if it was gay porn.
I think there's nothing more embarrassing than seeing a comedian do like a 2-camera video from like the room. Just them into the camera being like, hey guys, welcome to... Oh, fuck it, sorry. Hey guys, welcome to... You're just watching that like, ugh.
Oh, when she comes in and on the 3rd or 4th take of you trying to shoot a little piece to camera video and you're like, it's my grinder profile.
6 things you didn't know about me. Number 1, I'm gay.
Gay's back, by the way, as an insult. I've been flinging it out on stage again.
On stage?
Yeah, I feel like
in
we've
this
got-
country or your homeland?
Everywhere, man. I'm throwing it. I just it's like I'm testing the waters with it again. I feel like maybe Shane Gillis has opened the door for us again to start using gay
finally.
as
I agree.
Is
I've been
the-
using it.
Yeah.
Is the new Harvey Milk,
I told
you know?
a guy, I said Fitzroy on stage, and a guy in the audience laughed because he didn't he corrected the way I pronounced it.
Oh.
And I went, oh, nice gay little polo shirt. and it worked. People laughed.
You got him?
Yeah. I mean, it's not a clever response, but it worked.
At my wedding, one of the bridesmaids made mention of like a private school in Brisbane that most of the people there would not have known about. And my cousin, who's a year younger than me from the country, goes, gay, and it crushed
In front of the whole party?
in front of the entire wedding.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I feel like that was like a loophole for saying the word gay for a while there.
Yeah,
you
it was
couldn't say gay, but you'd say gay like that.
Yeah.
Or as a meme.
It was the meme.
Why does that allow the loophole?
It was the community. It was from Community.
Yeah, it's
'cause
Ken
then
Jeong, right?
Yeah, you're now quoting a piece of pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like Leonardo DiCaprio didn't actually say the N-word.
I watched
I don't know.
I watched The Hateful Eight again the other day, and man, Quentin Tarantino must just have that word constantly on Control C. You know what I mean? It's just like
Control N.
I just got flashbacks to when we were in Perth. We went to Bagelows.
Oh,
with,
yeah.
with Shad and Pete, and this was like before you got there, and Shad and Pete were crossing the road, and I saw them from the other side of the street. I quoted The Hangover. I went, paging Dr. Faggot, and they turned around in like utter horror because you can't even quote a movie these days.
Yeah. No, I was quoting American History X. Fuck, man. Well,
You couldn't write that in a movie these days.
I think
I
you
don't know,
could.
man. I think, yeah.
It'd have to be like...
Quentin Tarantino's
You can do it, dude.
Quentin
You can get there.
Tarantino's, he's going to make 10 movies or something. That's his thing. The last one I think is literally just going to be home footage of him like dropping the M-bomb and just fucking feet. he's like, this is my opus.
yeah.
And it also stars Michael Madsen for some reason. Just in the corner, like, keep going, Quentin.
And it's still going to be a great movie.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, he's done it again.
Well, I saw some interview where they were talking about like the fact that like Leonardo has to say the N-word so much in Glory. What movie is it?
Django Unchained.
Django Unchained. Yeah, and they were like, is that racist?
No, Kill Bill.
Not a single black person in the movie.
Just some very enthusiastic karaoke.
Black people talk about, is that racist? They're like, well, no, he needs to say it with such passion. You're supposed to hate him. He's supposed to be a villain. So like, Leo's actually being like one of us by, by doing it. He's in solidarity with us by saying the N-word with such vigor.
Well,
You're like, my God, that's great acting. We hate this guy.
Do you try to quote that movie as well, Hannah?
Not as much.
getting pretty close to the sun with the word vigor there. It's going to be a really easy edit.
Had a packet of chips before. That was salt and Don't worry about it.
Nah, man. It's
Wait. This just reminded me. Connor, in your homeland of Scotland, they've just brought in these laws. There are these new hate laws.
yeah. It's
What are these?
It is bullshit, but also I think it's probably we're gonna have to sit back and see what happens. I think it's getting blown out of proportion. I don't think there's gonna be police sitting in comedy clubs trying to catch people. I think they're using it as a vehicle for.
Wait, just give him some context, because even I don't know that
Well,
well.
I need to see the ins and outs of it.
Is it
but
like hate speech?
they said that it's new hate speech laws in Scotland, and one of the things that they will be targeting is the comedy scene. And knee-jerk reaction is to go like, well, like obviously that's fucking gay.
Extradite him.
Get him. But like I think basically what there is, because there was a thing in Scotland a few years ago where this really fucking horrible, sweaty, neckbeard edgelord started making like all these genuinely fucked up and vile videos, and like kind of circumvented it by being like, oh, it's just like for a laugh. So I think like they're targeting that kind of shit where it's like you can't actually put like actual hate speech out, but be like, no, it's a comedy video.
I didn't realise Isaac Butterfield was Scottish.
Yeah, it's that kind of shit
Yeah.
though. Like it was a guy who, oh fuck, what was it? I forget.
I've heard about this guy.
Yeah.
I've
And
heard
it was
Sloss
like,
talk about him, I think.
and it was like,
It wasn't the Nazi salute dog guy, was it?
Yeah. It
Oh,
was
that
him.
guy.
Yeah. But then
Dankula?
Count
Dunkula?
Dankula. Yeah.
There
but
you
then
go.
But
Count
then
Dankula?
yeah,
Count Dankula.
Yeah, like,
The name's pretty
turns
good.
turns out that guy's not a real straight shooter.
Don't hate the name.
Yeah,
but
no, the name's great. Like,
Count
no one was
Dankula.
angry about the name.
It was everything else. Yeah.
Like, but,
I went and saw Count Dankula's show, and if I'm honest, it was a little derivative.
yeah, honestly, obviously, like I don't give a shit. Like, say what you want. Like, but I think that's the kind of stuff where they're like, there is, I guess, a presence of people who are just saying hate speech and trying to thinly veil it as like, no, but it's like it's funny. Whereas I don't think they're gonna come and fucking try and arrest people for an edgy joke at the stand.
I hope they do.
Should we judge on the quality of the joke?
Yeah.
It's like the punchline didn't quite hit. Turn around. Hands up.
That would make comedy way cooler.
Yeah.
Like, just like you're at the stand, there's like police in the back just waiting for you.
Yeah, there'd be a lot less open spots trying to be Louis C.K. You know what I mean? Like they put a stamp on that.
It'd be a real shame for Hamo's point of difference, though. Where he's like, I went to prison. It's like, you've all fucking been to prison.
Yeah, it does suck though. Like it's not cool that it's the country I'm from, and I think that, well, there is like huge rebellion over it at the minute, but because like Canada had the same problem where like a comedian in Canada done a joke about lesbians, and a lesbian couple in the audience sued and won.
Well, do you know the joke?
I don't know the ins and outs of it. I had a conversation with some Canadian, but obviously Canada's like they're going through their own thing now, where there's a huge kickback to how left leaning everything is getting.
But like, with the joke, right? Is it like you go to court, the joke is presented as evidence, and then there's like a judge/jury being like, yeah, that's not funny.
That's the thing, it's delivery. Like, you know what I mean? Like the judge is gonna fucking butcher it because like he's used to reading very serious stuff all day, and I feel like yeah, you miss the nuance.
That reminds me of meeting Jeff Ross when he was talking. I was talking to him about when he roasted guys in a prison. Right? When he performed in a prison, and he was saying that it was quite hectic because on camera, one of the guys he talked about, "What are you in for?" And he was like, "Murder." And the inmate was joking about it with him during a comedy show. That was used in court as evidence that he had no remorse, and he was given the death penalty. Right? This is a true story.
Wow.
Fucked.
Everyone's like,
You're like, literally, what can go wrong here? Having a bit of banter. Turns out
right,
you
like-
should be killed.
to be fair, the joke killed twice.
You can be killed by the state
Yeah.
for having a laugh,
Isn't
actually.
that fucking crazy? Oh, man. Yeah, the
That's
state of Texas.
That's Guantanamo
Did-
Gay.
The guy's like, what do you want for your last meal? Well, not a fucking roast.
Oh, man, I couldn't
Fuck.
believe it when he
That's
told me that.
so funny
Yeah.
when you're like, oh, look, wait, we're just having fun. What's the worst thing they can use this against?
Yeah. Yeah, you'd think
man.
twice before you invited Jeff Ross in to for a bit of banter before. You're like,
That's fun.
don't engage with him, fellas. It could be your last laugh. Yeah,
Yeah,
fuck.
that's amazing. I mean, it's fucked up, but
It is.
it is funny.
For that one guy.
But
But
also, like there's a guy back home who, a comedian back home who did a prison gig, and there was this famous case in like up in this like coastal town up in Scotland ages ago. Like I think it was maybe even late 90s, early 2000s, about like a torso and a head or something that got found in a suitcase washed up on a beach, and
Whoa. Scotland has beaches?
well, yeah, we have where sand meets water. I don't know if you call it a beach, but it's mostly a place for doing recreational heroin.
My favourite kind of heroin.
As opposed to...
Performance enhancing heroin, medicinal heroin.
When your hobby becomes your job, it loses all its passion.
No, but and the guy like referenced that at this prison gig. That case, and he's got like fucking icy cold, and then like a group of people started like giggling, and he's like, "What is it?" And he was like, "They were all like, it was that cunt."
oh, shit, he was in the audience.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh man, like how do you prepare for that?" Like the actual torso ripper.
Wait, but he'd already been convicted for it. This wasn't...
he was in jail. Like he
for
did
that. Sorry, I thought he was in jail for like
Yeah.
something else. Like, it was this kind of... The lawyer's
Well,
like, well.
I think what happens is like people wrongly assume that it's just going to be like the fraudsters and stuff that get to go to the comedy gigs. But I've heard a few murderers, like the worst of the worst. Sometimes if they've just behaved themselves in jail,
That's
get
it.
to go.
That they would help
Yeah.
well, we called it a governor in Australia or a warden in
Yeah.
other countries, but they would use that as a carrot to dangle to be like, if you guys
Yeah.
behave yourself for long enough, we'll have this thing happen, right? And that there's a completely separate set of rules. Once you're already in there, doesn't matter what crime you're in there for. You get special treatment if you're behaving. Like I got put in a gold wing, right? Just because I didn't get in any trouble,
Yeah.
and you had better privileges. Like there was more phones, you had better workout equipment, you had a better toaster, like all these little things. But they add up
Access to
a
the
better-
lounge or...
The cells were bigger, like all these extra
Holy shit, man.
perks.
Yeah.
Just because you weren't like either doing tests, like doing dirty piss tests, or like bashing people.
So is it gold, silver, bronze?
It's just gold or just nothing.
Platinum?
Oh,
Platinum
no.
ones?
Yeah, it's not levels.
There's one wing which at Park Lee that had a vending machine. That you had a special card access to use the vending machine, and you can get like up to $20 worth of stuff out of the vending machine a week over and above your $100 grocery limit. So it was like $20 worth of extra like treats,
That's great.
which is like a very big perk in jail.
Yeah.
Plus, using a vending machine is always fun.
Yeah. One of my favorite TikTok accounts that I follow is this guy. He's an American guy. He's like Hispanic, and he just keeps showing you how he used to make prison food.
Yeah.
And it's like so funny because he's been doing it for like 2 years now, and he's built this massive following. And it's always just him pouring boiling water and milk powder into like Cheetos and stuff, and be like, "I'm making a Cheeto brick." And it's like, it's not food, man. But then it's also, but all of the comments are amazing. Like, every video, it's just like thousands of people being like, "Dude, you're free. Like, stop, stop eating food like this shit."
But there's every now and then there's a few people that are watching that, like, you never know when's the day I'm going to get pinched. This could be really useful information.
Yeah. Might stop you from like getting leaned on if you're like, guys, the one thing I can bring is, have you guys had a Cheeto brick? Just get me some milk powder
And then the other prisoners are just like, oh, great, I could use a brick. I've been looking to bash some cunt for weeks.
Oh, this is just like Jose used to make.
But it's funny, man, because he sets up
Just
each
picturing
video.
someone's body on the ground, just covered in orange dust.
It's the perfect crowd.
Everybody, show us your hands.
We didn't even have to.
Wasn't me, Governor. Look, no dust, no powder.
Some guy madly licking every finger. Like,
It's the only crime where you don't have to dust for prints. But like he sets up every video by pretending to talk to his fake cellmate off camera, and then it's just his own voice
Oh,
speaking
wow.
back. He's like, yo, Sally, you want a Cheeto brick? And he's like, yeah, man, that'd be busting. And then he starts. People are like, dude, like, please, like, just move on with your life. Like, you're out now. He's the only guy who's willing himself back into prison.
Don't you hate it when a
Hammer's
guy-
got a third outer, right?
Don't you hate it when a guy just won't stop talking about prison like ages and ages ago?
To be fair,
it's like in the Shawshank, and he climbs up to the rafters and he carves into the wood, and it's just a picture of Chester Cheetah.
Recipe.
Wait a minute, is that the cheetah's name?
Chester Cheetah.
Chester?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Chester Cheetah.
That would not be the name I'd pick for a cheetah.
No, that's
A cheetah.
that's pretty lame.
Why do you know that?
My dad used to work for the marketing department for Frito-Lay.
There you go.
Yeah.
Wow,
Nice.
Chester.
Did he name Chester?
I don't know. I don't think so. But he was there for the inception.
The inception of Chester.
Not conception.
Different. Chester.
I went for the tour of Fremantle Jail last time we were there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I learned that they call pedos here rock spiders.
Yes, that is another name for them.
Do you know why? Do you know
Is
the
it 'cause
etymology?
they get into little cracks?
That's correct.
Oh,
Yeah.
gosh.
It's so much worse when you know why.
Because UK it's nonce.
Yeah,
Which
because
is short for
that's an acronym.
Not on normal court exercise.
Yes.
So
There you
they would
go.
release them for exercise separately because they would just get the shit kicked out of them all the time.
There's another famous prison here called Pentridge Prison,
Right.
which is now like a tourist destination. I had a guy on my podcast who's like in his 70s now who talked about like how rough it was at Pentridge Prison like back in like the 70s and 80s. Like they just like literally be out there like doing like hard labor, like smashing rocks all day. And
what do they do that for?
To make smaller rocks.
Sorry, continue. My questions have been answered.
Have you ever walked past a small rock and thought, fuck, I wonder how that got there?
I just assumed time.
It's a bigger rock once.
Man, you've just totally blown my mind about gravel.
They got to make the rocks smaller because otherwise pedophiles can hide in them.
I
Just
might
a
have told
pedophile
this.
covered in gravel.
Every time you
At a
see a
playground?
driveway, every time you see a driveway covered in gravel, just know that thousands of children had to be abused to make that possible.
I had to do community service like over a decade ago for a different offence, and I might have told this story on the podcast before, I can't remember, but I had to do community service at North Sydney Council, and we just like drove around picking up rubbish, and we didn't work very hard. In an 8-hour day, we'd maybe do half an hour of actual work. The rest of the time, we're just working out with council workers that like are impressive how little work they can do. But I had to do community service with this guy named Paul Graham, who had like been a.
By the way, just every person you introduce on the podcast, full name, always. But I don't know why.
Absolutely insane.
It's like it's like he's giving evidence all the time.
Wait a minute, he's got a wire on.
The last episode, Hamo told a 10-minute story that ended with, and then I signed an NDA.
Fuck knows what that stands for.
So this guy Paul was like an old bank robber, right? And I forget what he was like had done that time, but he had community service, and he would ask me to cover for him, like sometimes while he would just go to like the public bathrooms at North Sydney Council and shoot up speed into his eyeballs.
Into his eyeballs.
Yeah.
That guy could see like fuck.
But sometimes he'd be so fucked. And one time he was telling us his story, and because he was like so like not with it, he would tell his story, but it was like backwards. It was like hearing a story like the movie Memento. I had to like try and piece it together. And once I finally pieced it together, I'm like, this is an insane story. So he one time was in Pentridge, and he had carved his name on the wall, like Paul Graham, Sydney City's finest, and the years that he was there.
Yeah.
And years later, it is now a tourist destination, and he happened to be in the area, and he remembered that his name was on the wall, and he was like, "Oh, I don't want my family to go there one day and see my name. It's embarrassing." So he rocked up to the entrance, and they're like, "It's $20 to get in," and he's like, I spent 5 years here for free. I'm not going to start paying now. So he went around the corner and jumped the fence and broke into the prison.
Wait, the bank robber broke in?
Yeah.
And he started scratching his name off the wall, and they called the cops to charge him with defacing a historical monument.
Oh, fucking hell. It's like when OJ got caught stealing his own shirt.
But so the cops drove him like a K down the road. They realised what he was actually doing. They thought it was hilarious. They just kicked him out of the car.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Great.
that's so funny, but such an insane story.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like, that is fucked up. Like again, it's like that thing of like, was it Louis C.K. that was the joke about like saying to people in Auschwitz, you know, they're going to buy tickets to come in here one day. like it's fucked up to be like, when you're shitting in a bucket in a cell after doing 12 hours of hard labor, you're like, you know, there'll be a queue to get into your cell one day. Fucking people are so fucking dumb. Like,
I remember. Have you done the concentration camp thing? Have you gone?
Yeah,
I didn't do Auschwitz. I did I think it was like Sachsenhausen or something.
right.
One of the ones near Munich, and it was just funny because
Sorry, but that does sound like a fucking club. Come on down to
Sachsenhausen.
Sachsenhausen.
Yeah, deep house. Jeden Tag.
We're going fucking crazy down here. 2 for 1s on Jägermeister down at Sachsenhausen.
And in the basement, Sachsenhausen.
This song is 6 million beats per minute.
Oh God, no. More like 4.
So I just remember to that point going through and they're like, well, look, it's not the original concentration camp because after the war the Germans destroyed it. So this is just kind of like a recreation of what it would look like. And in my head, I was like, "Oh, this is fucking bullshit." And then I'm like, "Oh, as a German, I'd probably want them gone too."
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
Just like, "Oh, should we knock down the concentration camp?" No, leave it.
That's a sad day. That's a sad contract to get as tradies, to be like, guys, we need you to brick for brick recreate. Okay, I thought the whole point was we were trying to get rid of this. No. We want you to rebuild this one.
Yeah, this
Exactly. 1 for 1. Really try and capture the hatred back into
the state of Israel was like, "Are you guys building more of those things?" And they're like,
Not
"We know
like
what it
that.
looks like."
No, it's a pretend one, no? Like, nothing's plumbed in.
All the proceeds.
We're building the Madame Tussauds.
I mean, it's obviously functioning. We want it to be realistic, but
Guys, we need the plinth finished today because the wax Goebbels arrives at midday. We don't want to leave that out in the heat. Fuck, man.
I just imagining the builders, honestly, there probably would have been a bit of graffiti. So if you feel anything in your heart, just write it down.
Yeah,
That's
just
fine.
leave your shoes behind, actually, if anything that adds to
they get the wrong Tussauds delivering. They're like, "Oh fuck, it's David Beckham."
Put a uniform
shave
on
his
him.
head, and we'll see if we can fit in.
Oh, thank God, it's early 2000s David Beckham. It's pretty close.
Wait, what wing did he play on again? Left or right?
So how's when will this go out?
Well, that's an interesting question,
Before
Connor.
Melbourne?
Would
the
you? I don't know. Do you need to plug some stuff?
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I've given up. I'll be if it misses Melbourne, I'm going to be in Sydney, Brisbane, and Perth as well. But
We'll do. That'll be at the end. Dude.
Yeah.
You're trying to do a mid pod plug. I can't even fucking say it.
Plug.
A mid pod plug. That sounds gross. I don't like it.
No, you're right. I'm definitely just here to hang out.
Oh, this is taking a fucking turn. I thought we were having a nice time.
No, I am having a nice. This is the first time I've spoken to people apart from Mickey and his girlfriend, who I'm sharing accommodation with for like a day and a half. So
You were saying you and Mickey went to the zoo yesterday?
We did go to the zoo yesterday. That was fun.
What are you doing? Like late night talk show energy?
Yeah.
So Connor, he went to the zoo.
I've got a pretty good zoo, but nah.
The zoo. How were the animals?
Nah, it was. By the way, Melbourne Zoo. I'm gonna start some beef here. Bad zoo.
So the Melbourne Zoo is bad compared to what zoo? Have you been Taronga and Sydney?
Taronga was phenomenal.
What are you looking for in a zoo?
Animals?
Yeah. No, like,
Cages?
I just felt like
Harambe.
there was a tired atmosphere at Melbourne Zoo.
On behalf of the
people or the animals?
Everybody.
The animals weren't on.
It was a long weekend for them. Settle down.
Like the platypus is doing 3 shows a night. So, but yeah, just like it was a bit tired looking. Taronga, I felt like I was amongst the animal kingdom at Taronga.
Well, we
I felt like part of the problem at Melbourne. Do you know what I mean? Like I felt it was more like Blackfish vibes, where I was like, I feel guilty that this exists.
Finally a sad note on this week's pod.
I went to a zoo in Serbia once.
That was actually a food court.
I got to the hostel and I was talking to the girl who was like leaving the dorm that I was staying in, and she was like, "Oh yeah," I was like, "What have you been doing here?" And she's like, "Look, just don't go to the zoo." And
So you went.
and 2 days later, I'm like, "How bad could the zoo be?"
It's a fucking marketing trick.
It was so fucking depressing. It was horrific. But you get there, and the first thing you see is there's a fountain in the middle of it, and it's of water shooting out of a lion's mouth. But a man is prying the jaws of the lion open.
Yes.
Wow.
He's like, lion represent Mother Russia.
I went to a reptile park in Thailand, and they had this guy doing like a crocodile show where he would like stroke the crocodile, this huge crocodile, with this big like stick, and it would relax and it would open its mouth, and he would
Ping pong balls
he'd
to
put
shoot
money.
out.
Yeah, you're not going to believe this, but that crocodile actually used to be an alligator. You'd never know.
You gotta feel it. So he did this show, and he like relaxed it and like opened his mouth, and he put money like 100 baht in the crocodile's mouth, and then he put his hand in and got it out, and he was missing a thumb. So like, you know, like obviously there must have been one show. where
Obviously that crocodile had 100 baht.
Yeah, you only get a 50 in that.
and then
He used to put 200 in the mouth, but it was too risky.
so then he did it again, and he like relaxed his crocodile, opens his mouth, and he put his head in its mouth, and he's there waving at us. And I was kind of impressed, but I'm also like, please take your head out of the crocodile. Like, I've seen enough.
Yeah.
You know? And then I'd had a few beers. So I went up to him and I go, how much to get in the pit? And he was like, we don't let tourists in there. And I'm like, how much? And he goes, 200 baht. It's like $10. It's like $10, $20 Aussie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay. So I get in there and I'm on this wet rock with this giant crocodile. And in the water is like 3 or 4 just sitting there as well. And I just was there with the guy, the tour guide. It wasn't even really a tour. Just there sitting with me, and I touched the crocodile. I got some photos, and I got out. And then because I did it, my other mates were like, "Oh, we want to have a crack."
Yeah.
So like 3 or 4 of them did it, and it was fine. But then I think by the end, the crocodile got a bit agitated by all the flash photography. so when my final mate was in there, the crocodile just kind of like moved a little bit, and my mate, like the photo we got of him was like just him midair, like just jumping in like just pure terror.
Man.
But I have that photo, so I'll bring it up for the group chat.
It's a great way to remember him.
My whole family were on like a family holiday. I was probably only about 16 or 17, and we were in Florida doing the Disneyland shit.
Yep.
And we went to Bass Pro Shop.
Yeah.
And that's like a day out there. The Bass Pro Shop is like, it's 3 levels, huge.
Is
like,
it just fishing?
It's every outdoor pursuit. So like there's like bits where you can like, there's like a fake shooting range next to where all the rifles are and stuff. And like you go around the corner and there's like just like bits where you can actually like fake fish like in a giant tank and stuff to like try out stuff.
Oh, okay.
It's
like a
cool,
driving
man.
range for
like
fishing.
You literally, and then there's like putting greens and stuff, and then you go outside and there's like fucking yachts and stuff that you can buy. It's just like pure American consumerism, but it's fucking great. And we were there with my whole family, and one of my nephews is like physically disabled and stuff. And the only reason I bring that up is like he's the one, like if he went missing, he's the one we'd be like, fuck, like he's the most vulnerable of the group. And we were in this giant shop and we turned around and realized he was only like 12, and we were like, oh, fuck, where is he? Where the fuck is he? And we all panicked. And the funny thing is, my sister goes like, we just turned around, like he can't have got himself far or into any trouble. And we turned around the corner and he was standing holding a baby crocodile, getting his photo taken. And it was just so funny because we're like, he can't be in that much trouble. And turned around and he was just like, and we're like, oh, yeah, no, he can. He can be in massive trouble, actually. But I like fucking, if you go to Florida or that, go there. And also, see, like, obviously, I'm having a different experience to most people because I'm like to people because I'm white. But I'm telling you right now, go to like the Everglades and go on one of these fan boat tour things. The fucking coolest people, man. These like Duck Dynasty guys.
Oh, in Florida?
Oh man,
the swamp people.
I did one, but I was unimpressed.
Guys.
I must have gone. I think I may have gone in the wrong season, but
Yeah.
the alligators we saw were way too small, and I was a bit underwhelmed because I'm so used to like Australian crocodiles.
Yeah.
And I was there with like, there was some lame Canadian on the hovercraft with us, and so he was like losing his mind over these like pathetic alligators. Like, oh my god! And then there was like a spider in a web, and it was like this tiny spider, and he was freaking out like, oh my god, it's the biggest spider I've ever seen. I was just like, dude, come on, like,
Yeah, well, we
you heard of a huntsman, motherfucker?
We had like real like Duck Dynasty fucking guys, and they were cool. And we got on, and there was two of them on this fan boat, and there was like all of us, and he was like halfway through the tour, he was like, "You guys seem like cool."
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you want the fucking
The real tour.
like the real tour?"
Yeah, fuck
And
it.
we were like, "Absolutely." So he took us through like this like really like rough bit where it wasn't like we were having to like wade through like brush and thicket and stuff. And then he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna take you to meet Wendy." And then she's this like huge fucking alligator, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna show you how cool they are." And like Wendy's there, and she's massive. And then there's like 4 or 5 other ones just in the water. And the guy goes like, "I don't do this much." He's like, "But you guys just seem like you want to see like the real shit." And he stripped down to like swimming trunks and just got in and started like, and he like herded all the alligators towards him in the water.
Oh my god.
And he was just like slapping them on the face and shit. And he was like, "Look," he's like, "they're so docile." This is fucking amazing.
The alligator whisperer. I mean, I feel
How
like
do you figure that out though?
I didn't realize that arcade game came from real life.
I mean, with those stories, it's like you're right until the day you're wrong.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, man. Like, and also it's so irresponsible. Like there was kids on the boat. Could you imagine if we'd all just watched them get mauled to death and then all have to figure out our way back?
And you're like, is that the real shit he was talking about?
You guys want to see the real shit? Just kills himself. You're like, yeah, mate. We know you're just trying to freak us out.
It's just spitting.
I just remembered a story of my cousin. She
Say her full name.
my cousin Amanda, she's a teacher for kids with special needs, and they went for a day out at the zoo one time. and they were on the bus. Leaving, and they got a call from the zoo to say, we've never had to say this before, but there's a penguin missing. and we needed to check if he possibly could be with you guys. And they were like, no, like what? With 20 like special needs kids. Of course we don't have the penguin. So then they started going through the bus and they checked the backpack of one of the kids and there was a penguin in it.
At that stage, man, like let them keep it. Like,
I mean, penguins made for life.
Yeah, you know? But like, just imagine getting that phone call. Like, we've got a missing penguin. This has never
funny,
happened
man.
before.
So funny. Honestly, mate, the banter between like kids with special needs is fucking unmatched. I remember I was in a band and the other guitar player's brother had Down syndrome, and like I would hang out at their house a lot, and his mates would come over, and the banter was unmatched.
Yep.
Like I remember he was like, "Oh, do you want to go he had his mate round. His mate was in a wheelchair, and the guy was like, "Oh, do you want to go play Xbox?" And the Down syndrome kid was like, "No, I'm not in the mood." And he was like, "Oh, you're just saying that because you got like stupid fucked up hands that can't hold the controller." And then immediately the Down syndrome guy went, "Doesn't matter, mate. My Xbox is upstairs anyway."
Return
It was just like so fucking good. Like it's funny how we like treat people like that, like they should be protected. And I'm telling you right now, if you get like in the zone with them, unmatched, they don't give a fuck.
Absolutely. I mean, my nephew's paraplegic, and I find like people get offended on behalf of groups of people with disabilities more than the people in the groups. Right? They just want to be included in the banter as well.
100%. And it's actually worse. See if a comedian's making fun of people and they visibly move past the person in the wheelchair. Yeah. The tension in the room is worse than if you just like, you need to throw something out and be like, I'm not like it's weird to make fun of the guy for wearing a funny shirt and then have someone like on a breathing apparatus in a chair and be like, so anyway, man.
And it's like, no shirt, loser. Hey, I really like your shirt.
All I can picture when I talk about that though is like that Key and Peele sketch. You know, when it's like the like roast me.
He's like, I can take it. And then he's like, I thought I could take it.
I was wrong.
Mention the burns.
I don't think I've ever like had a thing where someone, you know, has like, you know, special needs or whatever, and you make fun of them and they get upset. Like it's always someone else.
Yeah, it's always someone on behalf of
They're at a comedy show. They're at the front row. They're like, yeah, come on.
Yeah.
For the love of God.
I had a joke in the show for a long time. It's not in the show now. It's just for no particular reason. But I just had a joke in a long time about Stephen Hawking. And I found that like one night I didn't do the joke because there was someone in a wheelchair. And I hated the way that felt. And I was like, nah, I need to have faith in the joke. And then next time there was someone in a wheelchair in the audience, I did it. And I honestly, I'm not just saying this, but like, they were the ones laughing hardest in the room at the joke. Either that or something was wrong, like happening with him. I don't know. Like,
his laughter was computer generated.
Either that or he was having a seizure. But like, it's that thing of like, if you have a joke about a certain group of people and you are too scared to do it when that group of people are there, then you probably shouldn't be doing the joke. Like that's the litmus test.
Yeah, that's why Tom's audiences are restricted. Never wants to cross that bridge.
Straight whites only.
I mean, you guys don't play venues with ramps, do you? Out of your fucking mind?
But it's true, like, because then it makes you realize, like, maybe the phrasing of that joke is fucked up. And if I'm not comfortable enough to do it to the people who it's about, maybe I do need to rephrase it. And that, I think, is helpful. Because then if you hide all the jokes that might be offensive, then you end up becoming a comedian who only gets the people who you're like, look, I'm going to do this joke, but you guys are cool.
You guys are cool, right? Then you whip out a couple of crocodiles, start patting them.
Before you know it, you're 6 years down the line and everyone in the audience has a white hood on. And you're like, oh, fuck. I've cultivated this myself.
Oh, fuck. I can't do
Sounds like Dan's Edinburgh show.
I can't do my Ku Klux Klan material tonight.
Hey, wait, you're closing with a burning cross as well? Oh, fuck. I thought that was my bit. Wait, I think we should do a pilot ad because we're deep in.
All right. I've written one for Connor.
Connor Burns.
Connor, do you know the backstory to this?
No.
So we are sponsored by Pilots, Men's Health, predominantly erectile dysfunction.
But also hair loss.
Also hair loss, but we wrote about 3 of those ads and we got very bored.
I'm honestly worried about the old widow's peak is getting further.
Dude, you should get some Pilot. Get on the Pilot, brother.
I'm scared, man.
Dude, don't be scared. Talk to one of Pilot's doctors online today and start your hair regrowth journey now.
Thanks, man.
So
this is true, actually. I started going to a more like trendy barber back home because like I listen, no offense, but the Turkish people shouldn't be barbering. because man, do you know what Turkish barbers are really good at doing? Really good at making you look Turkish. Like, you know, like the aggressive lineups and like.
I went to a Turkish barber in London and he set my hair on fire.
Yeah, man. What are we doing here? Like, there shouldn't need to be sprinklers in your barber. like, just fucking like cut the hair. I remember I went to a Turkish barber when I was in Montreal, and I was like, oh, like this Turkish barber, the guy will be good. But he cut my hair like, do you know, like those videos of black guys that got like unbelievable lineups, where it's like he cut everything to perfect right angles. And it looked fucking wild. He also took the back of my hair like an inch past the natural hairline.
Wow. It was like mid-ear.
It was rough. And then I've developed a conspiracy theory. I think Turkish barbers are working in cahoots with Turkish, like the hair plant, like
the hair plug
places. Like you go into a Turkish barber, they fuck you up so bad that you're like, I have to fly to Turkey and get more put in.
Right. Do you think it's a sustainable industry?
So I'm going to a more trendy bar, like, because I used to go to like a proper Turkish bar where it was like literally like one chair in there. The guy, like, I don't know if he was Turkish, but
you didn't think to ask over all the years.
Like, he was wearing sandals, right? Let's say, like, that's all I know about him. And there's just one photo of Drake in the window, right? And then you're like, oh, it seems unlikely that Drizzy would get his hair cut here, but this guy seems like a straight shooter. Like, I don't think he would lie about that, right? So it's just, or like, it's always like Cristiano Ronaldo or something, you know what I mean? And it's always an awful haircut. It's like one where he has like zigzags on the side of his head. And I used to go there, but I went to a more trendy place, and I got kind of friendly with the staff there. Like, they came to see me during the Fringe.
Oh, so you talk to those staff, not the Turkish guy, huh?
No, he's busy taking loud phone calls behind me. He's dealing with like some domestic dispute back home on his earpiece. I'd actually got a haircut in Sydney the last time I was there as well, and it was fucking rough as fuck, the place I went in. And God's honest truth, halfway through the guy was absolutely mutilating me, and halfway through he put the stuff down, turned around and sold someone cigarettes.
Wow.
And then picked up and finished shearing me.
Was this also a kebab store in Port Macquarie?
Famously, Ham and I encountered a kebab shop where you could buy cigarettes.
Amazing. It was for a long time. I think still some places in Scotland, in some chippies, you could buy single cigarettes.
Oh, Lucy.
Yeah, Lucy. Ooh. So, but anyway, I went to this more trendy place, and
what kind of haircut are you asking for?
He wants Drake's haircut. Why do you think he went to the fucking Turkish barber?
I opened up and like confided in my barber once, where I was like, I'm a bit worried about like the old receding hairline, and he was like, oh man, same. And he had a cap on and took off. He's like, mine's starting to go. He was like, I'm thinking about like getting on minoxidil or something. And I went, oh man. I was like, yeah. And it was just like a general little conversation. And then at the end, they took a photo like for the socials and fucking put up on the thing. He was like, Connor here proving that like a receding hairline shouldn't be holding me back.
Oh my God.
And he
what?
fucking did me so dirty, man. So fucking dirty.
Let me tell you something about the Turks. They don't fucking snitch, brother.
Yeah, I could have killed his wife in that chair. And he would have been like, I can't go home.
Now I know that. I wish we'd done the ad about Pilot's hair loss treatment. But this one's about their ED medication.
Well, listen, man.
So
I'll confide
the way we do it.
Have you got any social media posts about your failing cock?
It gets up, it still fails.
So each week we write a pilot ad for someone else. But now whenever we'll have a guest on, one of us is writing one. I've written one for you today.
Great.
So I need you to read this one out.
Go on, Connor Burns.
G'day, floggers. I'll say it right down the barrel. Connor Burns here. I'm currently touring Australia doing a show called Vertigo. Vertigo can often feel like a type of dizziness when blood rushes to your head. But one place blood is no longer rushing to is my shamefully soft penis. When my dick isn't erect, it emphasizes my enormous scrotum. It makes me look like I'm smuggling a sad unused bagpipe. Nice, tied it into the Scottishness, that's good. But thanks to Pilot, I'm back, baby. Can we put like rousing bagpipe music after?
We can, but we won't.
Thanks to Pilot, I'm back, baby. I've been getting such powerful erections. My cock is now known as the Loch Ness Monster. Whoa, Nessie! They say when I unleash the beast. Go to pilot.com.au and use promo code FLOGGERS20 for $20 off your first order. Pilot, hard made easy.
Yeah,
Really good
nice.
stuff.
Good
Very
stuff.
strong. Hammer, great stuff there.
Yeah. I spent a lot of work on on my laptop this morning. I was like, I've got to fucking nail this one.
Scotland. What comes to mind?
In a little cloud with some arrows.
All right.
Loch Ness. Bagpipes. Braveheart.
A mind map.
Train spotting, question mark? Well, we actually kind of only got one guest that one question we asked guests, which is what school did you go to?
I went to high school or primary? What do you want to?
I mean, probably high school. Don't really need to go primary.
Liberton High School.
Liberton.
Liberton.
Where's Liberton?
It's in South Edinburgh in a place. So you got like Liberton, Gracemount, and then Gilmerton is where I grew up. And they're just suburbs of Edinburgh, but they're all pretty rough.
Was it co-ed school?
Like state school, like
girls and boys?
Oh yeah. It was mixed, and we had it was a big school. It was about like 800 pupils or something.
Yeah.
The year I started first year was the very first year that they implicated a school uniform. So before that, you could just rock up and then, but they had to put in a school uniform because people were getting the shit kicked out of them for what they were wearing. Because there was like so much poverty and stuff in the area. People would be like, "Oh my god, you've got 5-stripe Adidas, you fucking loser."
Guys from my school used to get it beaten up because of the uniform.
Well, but that's all that happened was like then how you stylized the uniform just became how you got the shit kicked out of you, because like you had to buy just all black trainers. If people came like in actual like dress shoes, then that became the thing that you got the shit kicked out of you for.
Yeah.
I remember my mate. My mate was like, I was kind of in like the music-y group at school. Like I was always in bands and stuff.
Is the music-y group cool?
It was like really like very in-betweeny. Like we got sometimes a bit of hassle from like the really popular kids, but like we weren't like complete fucking losers. We had some value. Like we were in bands. That was cool.
I think we were like a similar thing. It was like that. It was like, but like instead of music, it was like drugs. So it's just like you kind of do drugs and like I guess we can invite them to stuff. Yeah, but they're not cool.
Yeah, well
they're definitely not cool.
People would like come to our gigs and stuff, but then like at school you were never like fucking cool. But my mate had long hair, and for a while, I don't know if it was a thing here, but it was like a weird fashion thing for a while where black jeans got really popular, but they had like a wax finish.
Wax?
Yeah, you know, like a waxed jacket or something. Like they had like a wax on them, so they looked like pleather. They were shiny. Yeah. It became like a thing. Like some like guys on like, I don't know, probably on like Geordie Shore or something were wearing them, and it became like this fucking horrible fashion thing. So
I guess you wouldn't have to worry if someone spilled a drink on you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So my mate came in.
Hey, wait, I got to seal this letter. Give me your pants for a sec.
My mate came in with these, right? And he's got like long hair, and he's got like his school white shirt on, and he rocked up one day, and there was like a immediate tension in the air. Like everyone was like, we need to broach this at some point. Yeah, it looks like he's wearing leather trousers. Like we need to, but he got through like first section of the day, and he was like relatively untouched. And then we got to PE, and we were all in the change room getting changed, and he had only taken his shirt off so far, and he had the long hair, so he was shirtless with these on, and someone just walked past and went, "All right, calm down, Scorpion King." Honestly, I never saw him wear them again at school.
I feel like some group would have been taking betting odds on like how far is this guy getting through the day before he gets absolutely roasted. Scorpion King was the one.
Yeah, like black leather trousers, long hair, no shirt. It was perfect. Right, Scorpion King.
I remember having invested in a new leather jacket when I was very unsure about everything that I did. And I was like, fuck, the first time I wear this out, it's going to be, I've got to prepare myself. I remember going around to a mate's place for like pre-drinks before a thing, and I'm wearing my leather jacket, and I get to the door, and he opens and he goes, What's going on, Grease Lightning?
You couldn't take any fashion risks. At
Absolutely
Man's
not.
Go that,
Like, I'm just remembering, like, when a mate would rock up to a party with a turtleneck. Just some of that. I'm like, what's going on here?
Oh man, I took a couple risks. And I remember once I bought
Go on.
I bought
Here it
like
is.
a burgundy suit jacket.
Oh, I used to have one of these. Yeah.
And I thought, like, I turned up the thing and I completely forgot that the public buses in Scotland, that was their uniform. So I rocked up to this like party and someone opened the door and just went, fucking hell, you just park up the number 3. And I was like,
It's
Tickets,
also like
please.
typically purple or burgundy suits is like the black community have a monopoly on
yeah,
this. It's a bold decision for a white man.
The black community and Willy Wonka.
I looked like the fucking Cadbury's guy. Oh man, yeah, I had a few shockers. I mean, like even like I wore like instead of black dress trousers, I was like, nah, I'm gonna go a bit edgier and wore like black cargo pants. And like again, there's people like fucking, what do you need that many pockets for, man? And it was just like immediate shit. Like you'd get the group of people who'd slightly goth up their thing, like they'd wear like a studded belt or something. But like,
Did you ever have the chain wallet?
oh, of course, man.
Yeah.
Of course.
Chain wallet?
Chain
Chain wallet?
wallet.
Chain wallet?
Yeah,
Chain
of
wallet?
course.
No.
I had it for years.
Well,
Yeah.
Velcro wallet as well, so the bitches can hear you spend it.
I had
hear you spend it.
Velcro, chain, World Industries. With
Yeah.
the,
Mine was an Etnies wallet.
fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
You know the big, I think big chunky Etnie shoes are coming back.
You reckon?
Yeah, they're coming back.
I think Adidas has like a skate kind of line, and I'm like, I don't know about this.
Yeah, because I was a skateboarder.
You were?
I was a skateboarder in high school as well.
I was an imposter. I would go to General Pants and buy like all the skate. Like I'd have
Yeah.
Etnies shoes and all that kind of stuff. Never skated in my life.
You know what's really fucked is I remember vividly getting made fun of for turning up to school wearing Converse because at the time they were just skater shoes.
Oh, like All Stars?
Yeah.
Ah.
People would be like, "Oh, fucking all right, Green Day." And now, like everyone and their fucking mum wears Converse, and I feel vindicated.
But you don't anymore, do
Nah,
you?
these are just came from the gym, mate. So
Are you used to wearing Converse?
Actually, Capper fucking roasted these the other day. He was like, "Why do your shoes have mud flaps on the back?" I was like, "Cause I go hard in the paint. You never know when some mud's gonna flick up at the gym." By the way, I got a temporary 1 month gym pass for the gym like just up the corner there, Fitness First. I hate it, man. I hate it because my gym back home is just like it's like a very much like get in, get out gym.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't have
Get in there.
it doesn't have a sauna. Like it doesn't have a cafe. Like there's no reason to hang around. Like
Yeah.
you go in, work out, and leave.
Yeah. Take your
This
shirt
one-
off, leave your leather
this
pants
one's
on.
Like it's all the staff members are like there's like boards up and it's like join the Fitness First family and all that. But it's so many people just filming themselves doing sets.
Yeah.
Really?
And I fucking hate that. A guy like, and to be fair, the guy had a fucking absolute rig on him, but like topless, full like this amount of gear. And he's just filming
lights.
No, like he had like a full, like a big camera on a tripod, and he had like someone else with like a gimbal shooting him. Clearly, like he's like an influencer, but it's fucking rammed. It was Easter Sunday. It was wall to wall rammed, and he's in the middle just fucking filming himself doing deadlifts. I just hate that.
And you know,
shit.
if you walk in front of that shot,
Oh,
you're going to be viral on
Yeah,
TikTok.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah. I'm
dude, ruined my.
I'm gonna have to get Joey Swole to back me up.
This is not okay.
The gym is for everyone, even this disabled kid. But I'm like, Joey, I'm just even this fat disabled kid deserves to be there.
Those Joey Swell videos are so funny and so good.
Yeah, great.
Like
man.
just
They're
like
great.
the alpha bro community turning on each other.
Yeah,
Wait, is that
it's
the
gonna-
guy who like when there's the gym complaint video, it's just like they've got any right to be here, like we're all allowed the gym. I know this guy's hairline is receding, but he deserves to work out.
Yeah. It's like, just me walking past. I reckon from just that day, there's probably 40 clips on social media, Instagram, like fitness people of me just walking through videos like fucking Yeti. It's just like,
You should have had a shirt on promoting your show.
mate, good looking fit people don't go to comedy shows. That's the time that they're fucking each other. They're mating.
Yeah. When they come to comedy, they don't seem to like it.
Oh man, even
It's like, you don't need this.
Basement the other night, there was like this couple who kept getting, like, people kept coming back to them because they were literally like the best looking couple of all time. They were on holiday from Perth. They'd come over here and like they were both like gemmed up. Like he was like a fucking Hemsworth brother. She was like stunningly beautiful. And it was so funny because they were like, the MC was like, oh, so you're just over here for the comedy festival? And they're like, we had no idea it was on. And I was like, that's what it's like being beautiful. They came here and they are just like, oh, I guess they just put this on for us. Like, that's like, oh, they just put on all these gigs for us while we're here. That's great.
Yeah, should we go be a show tonight?
Yeah. It's like, like the Queen, they used to say, oh, the Queen thinks the world smells like fresh paint because somewhere in front of her there's 20 guys just making everything look nice. Beautiful people just think like, oh, like everything's just like always on. There's always room for us here. There's always like, oh, did you have to pay for your tickets? Like, we met someone last night who was just like, just come along.
I think we might have diagnosed why good-looking people don't go to comedy shows though, because they turn up and every ugly comedian's like, "What are you doing here? Where are you from? This is weird."
I did one of the Sydney like opening galas last year, and then afterwards there was like an after party. Weirdly, for Edinburgh Gin was sponsoring the thing. Right, weird, yeah. But they were like, oh, we're doing like a launch thing, so we're going to keep the backstage open. Oh, and by the way, the current maths cast is in the audience. They were going to come back for the after party. You've never seen oil and water. Like comedians trying to mix with gorgeous people, like just these like insanely untalented gorgeous people trying to mix with ugly talented people. It's like, we're all like, can we get, like, the makeup woman was like, oh, come in, I'll take it off. And we're like, can we just keep it on? Like, the cast of maths is coming.
Harrison Byrne from Maths didn't have strong chat.
Full name.
I keep meeting famous Aussie people and not finding out till much later that they're famous.
Who'd you meet?
So I've been sharing backstage with Osher Gunsberg.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Great guy.
Famous.
We just had like, big chats. I didn't know he was like Aussie Ryan Seacrest.
He is a bit. Yeah. That's a good way to put it.
He's both ant and deck combined.
But great dude. I don't know if you have had the chance to work with him.
Haven't met him. Been around a long time. He's there's a short list of like Aussie TV hosts that like host pretty much everything.
And he's kind of been famous twice because he had two different names. Remember?
Yeah,
Andrew G.
Yeah,
and then he changed it. Now he's Osher Gunsberg.
Yeah, started off as Andy G. Look at Australia getting more progressive.
Wow.
Yeah, we'll learn your stupid fucking name, mate.
Andrew G. And then he met a guy named Osher, and he was like, oh, I like that name more, and he just took it.
What?
And that's the story.
Fuck off.
I swear to God, I read
that
it.
is Aussie famous, isn't it? I like that. I'll have it. Thank you.
But also, like, it keeps happening to me where I'll just have chatting someone backstage at a gig here, and then they get introduced, and the audience are like, "Wow!" Like I met like Will Anderson the other night, and then he went up to do a spot, and I was like, judging by the reaction,
Super
he's
famous. Yeah,
very famous.
Same like the last time I was here, because he's very like down to earth. Was like done a couple gigs with Dave Hughes.
Oh yeah,
and then
he's
you
very
go
down
on
to
and
earth.
people lose their shit because he's like the person they've known since their childhood.
he's the guy.
Yeah.
Wait, is that Osher Gunsberg's story true? I can't get over that.
From memory, that was the interview I read, was that he met this like amazing, interesting dude named Osher, who had this very interesting backstory, and he was so impressed by him, he was like, I want to name myself after this other Osher.
But like, so his last name was always Gunsberg, but he shortened it to G, but he was born Andrew Gunsberg, and then he's like, I'm going to go with Osher.
This is checking out. He was born Andrew Jonas Gunsberg, according to Wikipedia.
Mm-hmm.
He met a guy. That's insane behavior.
Yeah. That's like
That's why next year I'm going to be Connor Hamilton.
I was going to take it a darker route. I was going to go, that's why I'm going to, from now on, just be called Hitler Connor. So I met this guy, super interesting, bunch of crazy ideas, but
I just like the sound of it.
he's a real go-getter. Shame he didn't get into art school. But I think something's big coming around the corner for him.
Is this checking out?
At the age of 38, he decided to change his name to Osher, Hebrew for happiness. in order to signal his changed outlook and attitude towards life. He claims that something about being Osher just feels right. So, no.
The news story I read was he met a guy. I think there's a news story out there. I'll find it after.
But like, is he
Says a
Jewish?
lot about Australia that
think
this
so,
is
yeah.
news.
Or is he just taken?
Says a lot about Australia that was news.
Oh man, it's slim.
Yeah, we've uncovered some fucking serious shit here.
Not only news, it was like breaking news. It was huge. It was TV. It was an exclusive on TV. It was magazine.
Is he Jewish?
Yeah, let's not rag on him.
I'm not
because-
ragging on
no,
him.
Like,
I'm just
Me and him
curious.
are getting pretty tight in these little 15-minute changeovers between our gigs.
It's also just a tough Google, and I'm glad Tom's doing it. When you Google someone like, are they Jewish?
Yeah,
I need to know. Don't ask why.
You would want to know, wouldn't you? Hitler burns.
Yeah. What is their current stance on Gaza?
Czech Jewish father and Lithuanian mother. There you go.
There you go. That's so strange.
But we've had very deep chats very quickly, which I like in a person.
What, backstage?
Yeah,
What are you
yeah.
getting
Deep
deep
chat.
about?
Yeah, just like
How was
life.
your show?
Well, no, like, just like
Any reviews?
just like our outlook on life and how we are.
I think he's into happiness,
we're
Jewish
just a-
happiness specifically.
He's a big like mindfulness guy. We've been talking a lot about that.
You're
listen,
describing my absolute
there-
worst
listen,
nightmare.
there's a lot of-
I'm just
there's-
trying to share a space with someone, and they're
a
like,
lot-
"How do you feel about
I'm
things?"
feeling a lot of
Shut
pushback.
up.
Feeling a lot of pushback coming from your end of the couch, Dan. But I think you
that's-
slip out of those Stan Smiths and try and ground yourself from
If
time to time.
If I was like, hey, would you like to meet my mate? He's really into meditation. His name means happiness. I'd be like, fucking no.
I know he changed his name to Happiness. It used to be Andrew. Found it very difficult to be happy as Andy.
Here we go.
Hammer's done the research.
The name Osher chose came from a Calvin Klein ad looking ex-commando cameraman he'd worked with in Israel who was so cool that he made Brando look like a hobo. So that's what I went with. That's the guy.
Worked with in Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, seems like a really good guy.
What news article is this?
This is Mamma Mia. There we go.
Dude, I have to I do have to share a space with this guy till the end of the Fringe. I'm all for making fun of the name, but we are starting to stray into his where he might stand on the whole genocide. It's getting slightly tense.
Why did you do genocide with inverted commas?
Because I think we can all agree.
Just talk to him about how you used to do Calvin Klein ads and how you used to be a commando, and just see if he warms to it. If he picks up.
Yeah, see if he's Connor Gunsberg next year.
Yeah. I accidentally, I'll just do a bit now where I accidentally think he's the other Osher. I'm like, what was it like being in the Israeli Special Forces, man?
Yeah, cameraman. We've all heard that. It's just because I had a mate who like Asian immigrant, and his name was Peng, and he was like, growing up in Australia in the 90s, he's like, well, we can't stick with that. So his best mate was called John, so he's like, oh, I'll be called John then. So he just became John Ung. So I was just like, I just found it strange that as like an adult, Andrew had the same experience.
Yeah.
And he's like, I just want that.
Yep.
I want to rebrand.
I think, yeah.
I didn't know it was that easy.
Yeah.
I've been lugging Daniel around for fucking years, and I'm
It
unhappy.
must be easier with people that you don't know because they're like, okay, that's what he wants. But like with your mates, if like you just rock up to the party one day, you're like, hey, I'm dropping the Andrew, just call me Osher. Like, yeah, I don't fuck it.
Nah, you've got to be surrounded by a very certain type of people for a name change to fly.
Yeah, I mean, we were talking about how you can't just start wearing a type of jacket.
Yeah, I only
It's like,
wore
lose the jacket, change the name.
Yeah. Oh man, so my school was quite shit. Pretty rough. There was apparently one other comedian came out of that school, which was Ian Sterling.
Oh, no,
Who's now the voice of Love Island.
Love Island, yeah.
Oh,
I think he was there for just a couple of years though. But
What does the voice of Love Island do?
what do you reckon, Hammer? If you had to guess, take a swing.
We're back on day 31 on this shitty island off the coast of Spain,
it's
and
more like
some hot vapid people are trying to fuck each other again.
yeah, it's
Is
more
that,
like
is that the gist of it?
over by the fire pit. Taylor and Kayla are having a deep chat. then it goes to them, and they're like, "You ever get like your toes done?"
Usher's such a beautiful name. What does it mean?
Speaking of name changes, you know Mo Farah,
Yeah.
the athlete. There was a big thing about him because he had to publicly come out and say like that wasn't his birth name, but he was like fleeing some awful war or something, and he just took that name from another person who was fleeing, and like all their paperwork got mixed up, and so he's not Mo Farah. There was a big thing of like it took a long time for him to figure out what his actual name was.
Oh, he didn't know. He didn't know this happened.
No. Like it all came out like a couple years ago, and then like I made that like incredible story. Even that became racially charged. Where immediately the right wing went, "Well, send him back then." And I'm like, no, that wasn't.
It's certainly a less funny. It's a less funny story than I met a cool guy and stole his name.
No, but like, people were like, oh, that's so brave. And I was like, do you know what would be funny though? As if he had to hand all of his medals over to the real Mo Farah. Like, somewhere in like Leicester, there's an Uber driver with 19 gold medals hanging off his dashboard. People are like, what are they from? He's like, oh, I'm the fastest man in the world over 10 kilometers.
I think the right wing are like, send him back. Fucking he can run back, man.
But man, I couldn't. What would you change your name to? Also, here's one. Have your parents ever told you what your name would have been if you were born a girl?
Oh, I don't know.
I just knew the other name that they were tossing up for me, which was not like they knew I was a boy. It was Christopher.
Christopher.
Yeah.
Christopher.
Yeah.
Did you be a Chris or a Christopher?
I'd be a Chris. I think Christopher
Or a Topher?
Topher. Ooh,
Yeah, that sucks.
Topher.
Yeah.
Topher. Yeah. No, and I'm like, nah. I just can't picture changing it. Like last name, I could kind of picture. Like if I think my wife was like real pushing.
Yeah, you'd have to get all new merch as well.
It's true.
Yeah.
All I got.
It's in the brand. I thought you
I
guys were going to...
I could see you as a Chris though.
Yeah,
Is
I
it
can see
Chris?
Yeah, you got.
Oh, that's
you got
nice.
Chris energy.
I don't mind. Chris is
Dan,
all right.
Dan works as well.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. If it didn't, I'd be in trouble. I'm
I
pushing this shit uphill for 34 years.
I was. My mum and dad told me I hate my girl name. I was gonna be, and this is no slight on you. I was gonna be Danielle.
Danielle.
I just don't like it.
I thought they were just going with Connor and Connie.
Connie.
Danielle.
I reckon you would have been a hot Danielle.
Do you think that's the other thing? So
That's a weird thing to say to someone.
I think I would have been quite.
Yeah.
I think I could have been quite a hot chick.
Do you have like any sisters? Like, do you have any confirmation?
Well, yes, but I can't decide if they're hot or not.
Well, guess who
You know
can?
what I mean? No. I think they're both strong, independent women with families.
With these legs, if you're wearing a wig, I'd be double checking for an Adam's apple.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'd be like, hey.
I don't think this crocodile's an alligator.
How much does it cost to get in? You know,
And I mean this with love, Andrew. I think you would be an ugly chick. You're a beautiful man, but I don't think this converts.
I've got some videos that'll change your mind. I've had a couple of dress-up
I do
competitions.
think you've got too thick of a neck.
This is
You know
real
what I mean?
progress.
Like,
Usually guests note that he has no neck at all. Whereas you're like, oh, it's just a thick
it's
one.
just like I just feel like it's not a frame that lends itself to
femininity.
I feel like Hamo as a chick would be the most dominant UFC fighter ever. You cannot submit her.
Yeah, like, where do you choke?
I thought I had a neck, it was just an arm.
It does look like if you would wear a turtleneck, and if you took it off, it would reveal a six-pack.
So Hammer's got a great new turtleneck. It's like, that's a t-shirt.
I think if I rebranded to, I think once I've finally killed Justin Hamilton and I'm the only Hamo in the Australian comedy scene, I think then I'll go to just Hamo, just one name.
The opposite of Osher Gunsberg. I remember this really cool guy, so I took his life.
And his name.
I absorbed him. That's a rough one, I think. It's a very definite career choice to have a nickname as a stage name.
Mm.
I feel like it's way cooler if you're a black comic, like Cedric the Entertainer.
They do it a lot.
Yeah. Or
Like,
like,
I can't think of any white comedians
Wasn't-
except
isn't it-
Eliza. Eliza Schlesinger is just Eliza now. She got rid of Schlesinger. Yeah,
Really?
that was the thing.
fair dues.
I noted that.
I mean, Schlesinger is a bit of a mouthful.
Yeah,
right?
like Bruce is another
Oh.
great black comic. Or like
Earthquake.
Earthquake.
Rodney Rude? Was that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's a nickname.
I feel like when
Hamburger Jones.
Yeah. When a white guy does it, it's not as cool. It's kind of
When a white guy does it, I assume it's because they've got another life they're trying to protect.
yeah.
You know?
Actually, is Sean Woodland? Is he just Woody now?
He seems to oscillate between
Right.
Woodland and Woody.
But he's funny. He can get away with it.
Limo?
And also he feels like a Woody.
Yeah, Lemo's pretty
Lemo?
much. He doesn't go on stage as his name. Oh, for some reason I didn't want to say his name just in case I grass him up.
What is his real name? We can't talk about it.
Hamo knows, obviously.
No, I don't know. What's his real name?
You would only say it if he'd committed some crime. You're like,
That
there's
seems to be a running
yeah,
theme in the
yeah,
show.
there's no fun saying a full name unless I'm implicating someone in something.
Oh, I was doing a break and ender with Stephen Lemo.
Stephen Lehman. Anthony Lehman, I believe.
Anthony Lemo.
Nice. Yeah, no, and I feel like, but also like for me over here, if I meet a middle-aged white comic who goes on stage as just a nickname, I'm getting like says racist stuff at RSL vibes.
Mm.
You know what I mean? That's the kind of comic
Or like
you
is
push him for.
deeply from the past.
Yeah. I feel
Because I feel like pseudonyms used to be like more of a thing as well.
yeah,
Like
would you-
ostentatious. There you
Oh,
go.
yeah,
There's
that's a
one.
good one.
Yeah. What's that guy? There's a really funny headshot at this.
Rash Rider. Jason Rash Rider.
Rash Rider.
Rash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guido Hatzis was another.
Guido Hatzis.
Alright.
Well, that was a character.
Yeah.
It was just voiced by an Irishman.
Yep.
Very
Right.
confusing.
Right. Yeah. Have you ever thought of stage naming or
Hamo.
do you do?
Well,
Officially
Would
Hamo?
you do Hamo?
What could do?
Oh.
Like on stage? Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome
Hamo.
Hamo. You're like,
I don't hate it.
I do.
yeah. We hate it. We're off it. What it'd be like? Connor would be like Burnsy, surely.
Yeah,
Burnsy.
Burnsy. I was always Burnsy growing up. My big brother was always Bernie.
Bernie.
So then I was Burnsy.
Because you were the second
Bernie.
one, so they
Yeah,
inserted an
just
S.
But I never really had I tried really hard because my middle name's John.
Mm.
I tried so hard to get CJ off the ground.
You're putting a shift in?
Oh, man.
CJ?
Yeah, I was trying to get other people to drop it in and that. And
it was like, nah, man.
Because at the time, 8 Simple Rules was on. And do you remember they had, there was like a season where David Spade was like the cool Uncle CJ. I really tried to get it off the ground. But
Never stuck?
Never stuck. Burnsy was the only one that really stuck. But I used to hate my name, but I think Connor Burns is an alright stage name.
You don't want us to push for CJ? You don't want us to start dropping it around
We
the
could do
first
it
time?
now.
You need some groundswell support, don't you, just to like get it off the ground.
You
Yeah.
need I think you need like a few like false flag, like people who will like be in conversations and drop it in naturally for you. Like a few mates, like I tell you what, I saw CJ.
So you need like some propaganda around the name.
Yeah.
Just like, man, you see CJ with that fucking cool jacket? Wait, you mean the bus driver, CJ? Yeah, dude, that's him.
Not many people can rock leather pants the way CJ does. He's looking great in them.
And that's the thing, you got to be making fun of as well, so people don't know.
Yeah.
Because if you're being positive about your male friend publicly, everyone's like, what happened?
What's going on?
Is there some kind of, is CJ okay?
Yeah. Immediately when you messaged me before the podcast and like, oh, we get the guest to do an ad read. Immediately I went, that seems like too much of a straight statement from a group of comedians. And I was like, oh, it's gonna be like we play it backwards and it's just you saying the N-word or something. That's
a good idea.
You'll be amazed what backwards is the N-word.
You just rigging, I guess.
We'll find out when we edit this.
There we go.
I mean,
So, episode name.
CJ Riggin, that's your station name?
oh dear. So they feel how Led Zeppelin felt.
Actually, maybe you guys can straighten some stuff out for me because I'm trying to learn about Aussie culture. So
Sure.
I don't put my foot in it. So, because I wanted to do a bit where I'm like, oh, like I love how Aussie slang is just like the word shorter and then with O on it. You know, like servo, arvo, bottle, all these
Smoko,
ones. Yeah,
Hamo.
smoko, all that. I was like, but I really wish you'd pull aside all of the foreign comedians when we arrive here and tell us that that extends to every word except Aboriginal. I was like, because I thought I was just like assimilating. Turns out I was hate criming.
Yes.
But also, what is weird, and I don't know if it is or not, but one thing I have heard people say, which sounds way worse than abbreviation of the word Aboriginal, is black fella. And is that weird? Is that I get the vibe that that is like if you are close personal friends with them, that's like a privilege you get.
I would say so. I would agree with that.
Like, but you can't just.
I mean,
you can just,
Tom's obviously
you
just
can-
speculating. He's not
Yeah,
close friends with any Indigenous
He's
people.
never met one. But,
What I can say with some certainty is I'm not allowed to say it.
that feels like the kind of word where, like, if you grew up with them and they're your friends, it's like you're in. You get to go to the cookout.
I feel like it was their term for each other.
Right.
And they're trying to kind of propagate that because it's black with like no C, right? It's just the K.
Yeah.
And
it's like immediate, like there's no space. It's black fella.
yeah. And now I feel like white people are kind of getting in on it, and I don't like that.
Yeah,
I don't
No, you
enjoy
wouldn't.
that.
You wouldn't. You need something.
I just kind of feel like that. Just let them have their fucking thing. Can they have one thing that we don't try to take from them?
See, that's what
Just
I was trying,
one.
That's what I was trying to understand. Like, is that something that, like, if you said it, people would be upset? But it's more like just a like annoying thing that we like white people are trying to fucking muscle in on.
I think it kind of splits both ways. I definitely think it's like the muscle in, but like I feel like in your accent, you can get away with a lot.
Yep.
And people will assume positive intent because you are Scottish rather than English.
Yeah.
You get the little freebie.
That's the best, man. I love not being English. They really like we're gonna pretend that there weren't Scottish people on those boats as well. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, no Irish either.
yeah. No, we were in the bowels of the ship.
Oh, we were outraged when we heard. We were furious.
Man, we get such a fucking pass. It's the best.
I'm an honorary black fella because I've done jail time.
Oh God!
It's always
That's like,
it's always good to know exactly what I'm cutting out and where the podcast will probably
That's like,
end.
did you see Trump? Trump said recently in a speech that he's like with this campaign, he's like, I'm gonna do better numbers than ever with the black voters. He was like, because they're gonna respect me even more now that I have a mugshot. That's so wild.
Do you remember that Seth Meyers joke from the Correspondents' Dinner where he goes, Trump says he polls very well with the blacks. Unless the blacks is a family of white people, I think he's mistaken.
The most common vernacular is just their tribes. So, if it's New South Wales, we say Kooris.
Right.
I think Queensland's Murrays. But yeah, that's the most common term that you would use, I find.
Is there big division the way there is in American jails race wise? Yeah.
There only is when shit hits the fan.
Yeah,
Day to day, they all mix together.
Cool.
But yeah, certainly in all the prisons that in the wings I was, the Aboriginal communities are like the most powerful.
Right.
Yeah, they're called the brothers in there, and it's just disgraceful how much they outnumber everyone.
Yeah.
But it's really once like if there's a brawl, it gets broken into races.
Yeah, fair. That's so nice that, like, even in the midst of a brawl, you can organize yourself. You know what I mean? And
Well,
be like,
some of
"Well,
us can."
Yeah.
But also there'll be times when you can see like a guy who like is a white dude who you really don't like, and you're gonna defend him, but you're like, just so you know, my heart's not in this.
I'm only doing this because you're white, not because of the content of your character.
For the first time in your life, you're lucky you're white. You know?
And violence is only skin deep, mate. All right? And also, just to clear up, because I'm just trying, again, as an outsider, trying to understand. So what's happening in Alice Springs? What's the curfew thing that's going on? Is this too touchy?
Probably the pod's gone long enough.
Yeah. No, just because as there's a curfew and
There's been curfews before. There's been dry zones. There's been like cards where you can only buy other stuff, so you can't get liquor. The Alice Springs curfew. I think there's just like a lot of youth crime. That they say is disproportionately Indigenous, and they put a curfew in. I think that's basically the long and short of it.
Alice Springs is in the middle.
It's near Uluru, which you might know as Ayers Rock.
No, I know it as Uluru. Thank you very much.
You've been brainwashed too, huh?
Yeah. Actually, after the guy who I accidentally shortened Aboriginal, after he got up and walked out.
Oh my God, really?
Nah, I'm only joking. No, yeah, we did. We renamed his seat though. From Cheers Rock to Stoolaroo.
That's good stuff.
All right, we did it. We're out.
That's gonna be it.
Lovely. Connor, where can people find you? Sorry, CJ.
CJ.
Yeah, let's get this moving. Can you put me in the title as a CJ?
CJ Burns.
CJ Burns.
If this goes out before the end of Melbourne, I'll be at the Greek Centre every single fucking night. And then after that, I'm doing Sydney Comedy Festival, one show in Brisbane at the Powerhouse, and then one show at the Wreckabout in Perth as well.
What are your dates, roughly?
Just basically, I'm going to be in Sydney. I'm going to be here till the end of the month in Melbourne, and then the following week is Sydney, and then it's the Brisbane date, and then we're finishing off in Perth.
We'll put it all in the description.
I'll put the exact dates.
We'll get it in there.
Yeah.
And on social media or anything like that?
Yeah, Connor Burns Comedy. Probably change the handle to CJ by the time this yeah, CONNOR Burns Comedy. You'll find me. Instagram, probably the best place for the most content.
Easy as. All right. Floggers, thanks for joining us for yet another week. We don't know when this is going out, but just, any live dates that Hamo, Tom, and Christopher Muggleton will be in the description, all that kind of stuff. Keep flogging the cabin, telling people we grow every week. We love that. And now, Connor, can you say check the Dodgems?
Check the Dodgems.
Bye.
Man, I thought Tom was going to say stay flogged up there.
Well, he said bye before I got a chance.
I know.
Sorry.
Well,